extend a personal word of thanks to the folks at the Cato Institute, as well as the folks at the Heritage Foundation who helped so much in devising this plan. Let me just say briefly, you know, to put this in context, this is, after all, what we're talking about. We're talking about the largest program in the history of the federal government. I think this is the most important domestic policy challenge and opportunity that we face in this country. And I was very happy last night to hear the President talk once again about the importance of an ownership society. The President's going to make this an issue in this campaign. I believe he's going to lead with this agenda in his next administration. And the centerpiece of an ownership society has got to be ownership of one's own retirement accounts and retirement security. I think the vast majority of our Republican colleagues understand the need to reform Social Security. Some of our Democratic colleagues do as well. But what I'm excited about is today I think we are part of what is an emerging consensus amongst Republicans here in the House anyway, that we need to do this with large personal accounts. Paul Ryan has introduced a bill that takes us in this direction. I believe John Sununu in the Senate is likely to do so. Jim DeMint, another House colleague, has a bill that encompasses large personal accounts. And I think this is the centerpiece of our plan and the centerpiece of the appropriate reform, because it will enable all workers to accumulate significant savings, in our case immediately, in the case of other bills at least quickly. It'll establish an immediate and broad constituency for continuing down this reform road, and it will enable us to transition from the current system, which is simply a transfer of wealth system, to one which is driven by personal savings. Now, obviously, I think our plan does it best. What we do is we allow all workers under the age of 55 to have the option to come into a new system, a system that would allow them to contribute 6.2% of payroll taxes, the entire worker share, immediately into personal accounts. It's a uniform, flat rate that applies to all workers. The second big thing that our plan does, which I think is very, very important and distinguishes it from many other plans, is that the way we treat his past contributions to the Social Security system. We do that by issuing what we call a recognition bond, which essentially allows workers to convert their past contributions in the system into immediate savings, because this bond recognizes the amount of a benefit that a person has earned. It comes in the form of a certificate which is fully negotiable. That means every worker can take that certificate on the day it's issued, sell it, take the cash proceeds, and immediately have a substantial savings account. That's a powerful and I think very important part of this reform idea. And the last thing I would touch on, although there are many other elements to this plan, one of the important features is that what we do in our plan is we guarantee that every retiree will never have a benefit less than 120% of the poverty level. That's actually more generous than what Social Security currently promises and can't deliver to low-income workers. So I think this plan is going to have a lot of appeal to people at the low end of the income spectrum. It's also worth noting that our plan costs less, much less. Under current law, if we don't make any changes, the present value of the shortfall in the Social Security plan is on the order of $12 trillion. Our plan is not fully scored yet, but we think that when the score comes in, it's going to be on the order of about $4 trillion, a fraction of the cost of doing nothing. But that's not the most important thing about our plan. I think the most important thing is that our idea expands enormous freedom to every worker in America. It's going to change America when every single working person, every secretary, every store clerk, every landscaper, everybody of all across the income spectrum has the opportunity for the first time in the history of our nation to accumulate real wealth that they own and they control, they can pass on to their heirs. It's a tremendous expansion in personal liberty, and it's going to, I think, just change the way people have the opportunity to experience the American dream. That's what's so exciting about this. It's the biggest challenge and opportunity of our generation in terms of domestic policy, and I just want to thank Sam Johnson and Jeff Flake and my other colleagues for helping to advance this cause. And I will now introduce my colleague and good friend from Arizona, Jeff Flake.